Hi everybody, and welcome to the Millennial Revolt, an independent political talk show that seeks to bring a different narrative than the stale one we have going on right now in the mainstream media. So today we are going to be talking about the president's pick for the Supreme Court, and he has officially picked Judge Neil Gorsuch, who is an echo of Antonin Scalia in philosophy and style. And the nomination of Neil Gorsuch has a lot of implications on the court because it will forever shape the court. And given the fact that we have some members on the Supreme Court right now who are pretty old, such as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, if the president gets another pick, then we are going to have a very conservative court. So there's so much to talk about. There's a lot to get into, so let's just jump right into it. Donald Trump first released his list of 11 potential Supreme Court nominees last May. Many legal scholars were surprised Neil Gorsuch did not make the cut. Neil Gorsuch, who is a 49-year-old federal appeals court judge from Colorado, made Trump's second list in September, then quickly emerged as a favorite among conservatives because of his stellar resume, distinctive writing style, and overall legal philosophy. But Trump likely chose Gorsuch over the federal appeals court judges at the top of his original list, which was Alabama's William Pryor, Wisconsin's Dianne Sykes, because he is viewed as a close replica of the late Justice Antonin Scalia, whose seat he will assume if he is confirmed by the Senate. In a recent study of most likely nominees, Gorsuch and Pryor emerged as the most like Scalia in a variety of facets, such as their strict adherence to the Constitution and the text of existing statutes. I'm a person who does not believe that the Constitution is a living, breathing document. I don't believe that the Constitution adapts over time. I think it's a strict legal document and it says what it says and it doesn't say what it doesn't say. I think we can make amendments if we know that there's something wrong in the United States, but as far as that, the Constitution is perfect. The Founding Fathers didn't make any mistakes when they made the Constitution, and it is basically a just model for every single judge to follow. I don't think they should try to legislate from the court, which we have seen too many justices do. I don't think we should have activist judges on the court. I don't think you should. I think you should have judges on the court who strictly follow what the Constitution says and doesn't put their own political beliefs and political biases into any decisions that they do make. Gorsuch went on to align himself with Scalia on the role of judges, who he said should be in the business of declaring what is the law using the traditional tools of interpretation rather than pronouncing the law as they might wish it to be in light of their own political views. In all of his opinions, Gorsuch is both plain-spoken and entertaining without the hard-ended sarcasm that Scalia often used. Gorsuch has also stated that he holds a strong view that the executive branch of government wields too much power. He also has been a strong defender of religious liberties, siding with the craft store chain Hobby Lobby and the Little Sisters of the Poor in their battle against the Affordable Care Act's original mandate that employers offer free healthcare service for contraceptives even if it violates their religious beliefs. While he has not ruled directly on some hot-button issues, such as abortion, his views in favor of the sanctity of life can be gleaned from his 2006 book, The Future of Assisted Suicide in Euthanasia, which concludes that intentionally killing is always wrong. Here's my thing on euthanasia and assisted suicide. My whole thing is if an adult is of sound mind and has their faculties with them when they decide that they want to kill themselves, by all means, you should be able to choose to end your life if you are legally sane when you are doing this. You are an adult, you have that option to kill yourself if you choose to. My whole thing is a baby doesn't have that option to choose whether or not they want to be born. They don't have that right. There is no rights because some people don't believe that life begins at conception. I am a person who does believe that life begins at conception. Now, Gorsuch stood out the crowd among Trump's 21 potential judges for several reasons. One, his academic credentials were impeccable. Columbia University, Harvard Law, where he was in President Obama's graduating class, and a doctorate in legal philosophy from Oxford. He clerked not just for one Supreme Court justice, but two, fellow Coloradan Byron White and Anthony Kennedy. If confirmed, he would be the first former clerk to serve alongside the Justice justice he served. Unlike judges who spent their entire career inside or outside Washington, Gorsuch has split his time between the two. His Denver base at the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit gives him the outsider appeal that President Trump was looking for. The court hears cases from Colorado, Kansas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Utah, and Wyoming. But he has valuable experience working at the Department of Justice in George W. Bush's administration and at a major law firm in the nation's capital. Like Justice Anthony M. Kennedy, Gorsuch is a Westerner with a polite, congenial manner who sometimes has won praise from liberals. He may be more conservative than Kennedy when it comes to expanding individual rights, but he seems to lack Scalia's fervor for overturning liberal precedents from past decades. Which way Gorsuch skews could be pivotal for the future of the court. Conservatives clearly hope he'll be more like Scalia than Kennedy, a centrist swing vote who has often joined liberals on issues such as gay marriage and abortion. Some conservatives have even expressed hope that Gorsuch's personal history with Kennedy might enable him to draw the Reagan appointee back toward the right. In his April speech, Gorsuch described Scalia's approach to judging as his model. Perhaps the greatest project of Justice Scalia's career was to remind us of the differences between judges and legislatures, he said. Lawmakers may appeal to their own moral convictions and to claims of social utility to reshape laws for the future. Judges should do none of these things in a democratic society. Judges should instead strive, if humanely and so imperfectly, to apply the law as it is, focusing backwards, not forward, and looking to the text, structure, and history to decide what a reasonable reader at the time of the events in question would have understood the law to be, not to decide cases based on their own moral convictions or the policy consequences they believe might serve society best. And I completely agree with him. We should not have activist judges legislating from the court. His approach to judging won him admirers in conservative circles, and since the November election, a small team of White House lawyers has been reading the opinions of prominent conservative judges, and there Gorsuch stood out. His opinions does not include Scalia-like jabs, but he carefully examines the law and how it should be understood. I think conservatives will like Justice Gorsuch because he is a conservative, he is a constitutionalist, he doesn't seem like he is an activist judge. He is more Scalia-like in nature, which they wanted somebody who would represent Justice Scalia's style, the way he viewed the Constitution, to be selected to be put into the Supreme Court. I think liberals will have a problem with him given his vagueness on the abortion issue and the fact that President Obama's Supreme Court nominee Merrick Garland was held up, so they're probably going to try to hold up Neil Gorsuch. Now, if they do that, the Republicans have the option of using the nuclear option. But again, it will bite them in the ass because, God forbid, one of the judges do happen to pass away. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is up there, and there's a couple of people who are up there in age. If the Democrats hold the majority again, they can easily confirm a Supreme Court justice with the majority. So it's a double-edged sword. So I think he's probably going to get confirmed. He easily got confirmed to the appeals court without an issue, and some Democrats will probably break with their party to confirm him. Some Senate Democrats, like Chuck Schumer, are already suggesting that they will return the favor of throwing up any and all roadblocks to Trump's Supreme Court choice because Senate Republicans stonewall President Obama's nomination of Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court until it expired at the end of President Obama's term. Cruz, who has attended the White House event, has said that Gorsuch is brilliant and immensely talented. He said that as a result of his fidelity to the law, he has proven to be a champion of federalism, the constitutional separation of powers, religious liberty, and all of the fundamental liberties enshrined in our Bill of Rights. I couldn't be more happier with this selection. As of right now, if Neil Gorsuch gets confirmed, it's not going to change the balance of the court. Because Neil Gorsuch is a conservative judge, he is just going to be replacing Antonin Scalia. If Hillary Clinton got elected and would have selected a more liberal judge, then it would have changed the balance of power. If one of these judges who are a little bit older does retire, then it will be interesting to see what President Trump actually does do. I really want to watch his confirmation hearing closely. I want to see what he has to say on major issues in some of the legislative cases that have been brought forth, such as Citizens United, things like that. See what he says. So I'm the Millennial Revolt. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you have a wonderful day. Bye.